Hello, and welcome to another episode of Reviews in a Rabbit Onesie, the show in which I, Dan Leith, review things in a rabbit onesie. You and me, baby, ain't nothing but mammals, so let's do it like they do on the Discovery Channel. Getting horny now. No, that was last week. Hello and welcome to another episode. As you might have noticed, I'm not wearing a rabbit onesie. And the reason for that is this week's theme. What to Sasquatch? Yes, I'm putting two films about Bigfoot head to head. Now, an interesting fact about me is that I'm absolutely terrified of Bigfoot or Sasquatch. I've read some sort of true account thing when I was younger. It scared the shit out of me. So this week was fun. Which brings us to movie number 1, Harry and the Hendersons from 1987. The incredible John Lithgow stars as George Henderson, who goes on a hunting trip with his family. On the way back, he hits a Bigfoot with his car. So obviously thinking it's dead, he straps it to the roof of his car, takes it home. It's not dead. George wakes up to noises in the middle of the night and finds the Sasquatch in his kitchen. The first time you see Bigfoot in the kitchen, he is terrifying. I just pure shit myself. Needless to say, the whole family wakes up. There's a bit of a panic. Bigfoot's trashing their house. He gets wild upset about George's hunting trophies, the old deer head on the wall, and some mink fur he finds, and he likes to give it a proper burial. Everyone's terrified of him at the start, but it turns out he's actually quite a good lad. George has him in the crosshairs of his rifle. He does this, look... Can't shoot that. So the Hendersons are won over by the big fella. There's a particularly touching moment when he meets the family dog, a tiny Jack Russell. It's actually quite tense because he's holding it by the head like he could crush it at any given second. Then he just strokes it. Yay! He's a good lad, really, just misunderstood. He's quite a firm vegetarian. Likes watching TV. They realise they have to take him back to the wild. George's youngest, his son, he gets quite upset about it. George says, we need to say goodbye to our hairy friend, which the son mishears and thinks is Harry. That's how he gets his name. Harry. Hare Krishna. But Harry sees the son is crying and he gets upset and he fucks off. So there's a Sasquatch loose in the neighbourhood. There's a hilarious moment where Harry is watching someone boil a chicken through a window and meanwhile looks over to see two overweight people getting into a hot tub. He's rather confused. Then someone thinks he's a peeping Tom and goes, get away from the window! And then they see he's a Sasquatch and panic ensues. David Suchet plays a very cartoonish French villain hunter character who's trying to kill him. So essentially it's up to the Hendersons to try and find Bigfoot and help him back to the wild before he's captured or killed. I mean, essentially it's just a lovely film made by Amblin Entertainment, and you can really see the kind of E.T. element of misunderstood monster and how a misunderstood monster can teach humans how to be less monstrous. It's a good watch. John Lithgow is ace in it. He's on form. He's hilarious. It's very heartfelt. There's a scene where he yells at Harry and I shed a tear. It's a little idealistic. I'm not exactly sure how quickly I'd be won over if I found a Sasquatch in my house, or spooning my youngest son, or giving my daughter roses before he pushes her over. Hilarious. I mean, I was terrified of Harry at the start, but he totally won me over. It's heartfelt, fun, good family entertainment. Rick Baker did an outstanding job making the animatronic Harry. He's got such expression in his face. He's incredible. It's just good 80s family fun. It even has an AHA style animation over the end credits.
Now my soul can see a moment may be over.
Brilliant. What did I learn from this movie? I learned that if I ever need to escape a Sasquatch, I can use Glade air freshener. And apparently Sasquatch and baby pigeons hang out together. So I really enjoyed this film. However, I'm not entirely convinced they're sending out the right message about Sasquatch. Like, we shouldn't all rush to be friends with a big, scary, hairy thing. I mean, what's next? Will they make a film about El Chupacabra? That'll be like a buddy comedy with the El Chupacabra and the goat just getting along. Life's not that perfect. Totally getting off topic. Harry and the Hendersons. If you want a feel-good treat, give it a go. 4 out of 5, Footprints. Which brings us to movie number 2, 2013's Willow Creek. So this is a found footage movie, so if that puts you off, maybe it's not for you. It follows a couple, the fella in which is a Bigfoot enthusiast. They're travelling around Bigfoot country, visiting all the tourist spots, having healthy debates about cryptozoology. Hold on, love, don't you compare Bigfoot to leprechauns? That's stupid. They're visiting all the tourist sites, eating Bigfoot burgers shaped like his feet. Class. I mean, who doesn't want to go to a burger joint that sells ammunition at the same time? Essentially, they're making a video diary on the hunt for Bigfoot and having the crack with it. They meet some of the locals. There's a guy called Steve who has crazy eyes. He looks a bit scary, to be honest. Essentially, the end goal is to visit the famous Patterson and Gimlin film site, which you've undoubtedly seen. It's that famous footage where Bigfoot just fucks off into the woods, looking back over his shoulder. Like he doesn't give a shit. They even interview a guy who has written a song about it. He fucks up the song. It's quite funny. One of the best things about this movie is how realistic it is. They interview a guy who has this very haunting story about his dog dying in the woods. Was it Bigfoot? Was it something else? Oh, Bella the dog. R.I.P. So anyway, the locals tell him they're going to have to hike off the beaten path to get down to the creek where that footage was filmed. They camp in the woods and shit starts to get real. It's terrifying. They start hearing noises in the night. There's this incredible shot that lasts 18 minutes and I've never been so captivated. It's just a couple hanging out in a tent listening to spooky noises. It's outstanding. You can just see the horrible sinking realization on the boyfriend's face when shit starts to get real. Outstanding performance from the two leads in this film. This movie literally made me weep with fear. And also put my hands up to my face a whole bunch of times. You win this round, COVID. I'm not going to tell you too much more about this movie. It's not very long, it's only 70-something minutes. Believe it or not, this film was directed by Bobcat Goldthwait, who you might recognise from the Police Academy movies or Scrooged. You can't talk like you. That was a terrible impression.
You dudes are setting a bad example.
He's nailed it with this film. It's terrifying. I was so scared, and it's the kind of film that stays with you long after the credits have rolled. Sweet dreams of Sasquatch. The only thing I didn't really like about this film is that it borrows quite a lot from the Blair Witch Project. You can say that a lot of found footage films borrow quite a lot from the Blair Witch Project. But where this film and the Blair Witch Project hold up is in the realism. It also preaches that with horror movies sometimes less is more. Minor spoiler in that you don't see a lot of Sasquatch in this movie, but what happens up here is far, far scarier. If you're a fan of horror, Bigfoot, Bobcat Goldthwait, I can't recommend this movie to you enough. What did I learn from this movie? I learnt that you should never pretend to wank off a Bigfoot statue, and that the Pope might actually shit in the woods. So Willow Creek. Well done, Bobcat Goldthwait. You scared the absolute cunt off me. 4 out of 5, footprints. I mean, I guess it's interesting this week because they're two different genres, even though they're both about Bigfoot. Family-friendly comedy versus a horror film. But since one of them actually made me weep with fear, that doesn't happen enough. Willow Creek wins. Scary, scary Sasquatch. Thank you very much for watching Reviews in a Rabbit Onesie. I've been Dan Leith. If you enjoyed this video, then please like, share, subscribe, etc. And if you want me to review anything else, then please leave a comment underneath. Stay safe, stay sane, and stay out of the woods. Finn.